Hello, beautiful. Welcome back to Nat's Beautiful Life. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 books of 2018. I know I am super late on this, but I have been out of town. The dogs are playing and barking at each other. Of course, because I'm filming, and that is what they must do. Stay tuned to the end of the video, and I will have a little update for you and all of that. But without any further ado, let's get into the video. I'm assuming you can hear all that. All right. These are my top 10, and there is no particular order. Wow. Yep, they're running through here. Okay. So the first one I want to mention is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Everyone has probably put this in their top 10 this year if they read it. I'm glad that I actually read it before all the hype came out. It was recommended by Books by Emily Fox, and if she really loves something that much, then I'm like, yes, please. So I checked it out. Really great book. You think it's going to be about how this is a starlet telling her story to a reporter, and you think it's going to be like how what the things she learned from her 7 husbands and all this stuff, and it is, but it's so much more. Like it was surprising. The book was so good. That's just one thing about it. It was just very surprising, and I really enjoyed that one. So I recommend that one. The next one is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is a book that has been out for several years. Let me see. 2016 is when this one came out. And I really enjoyed this book. It took a little bit of a moment for me to get into it because it is like a slower start for me personally. But it just read very fairy tale-esque, and I recently found out it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, loosely. But I really enjoyed this book, and I totally want to get the UK cover because the UK cover is so pretty. So yeah, I highly recommend this if you like fantasy, or if you're not sure about fantasy but you like kind of Disney type things. This is not Disney. It's a darker story than that, but I love this, and it's kind of like, in the end, she's not a princess, but like the princess saves herself. But it's not, I don't know how to explain it without giving away spoilers. It's really good. Go read it. It's about a little town. There's some like evil woods, and then there's this wizard that they call the dragon, who comes every 10 years and takes a girl to live with him, and nobody knows what he does with them. But 10 years later they get released, and they usually leave the town. And so it's about that. He takes this one girl and all that jazz. So I highly recommend it. Get you some. Another one a lot of people have probably mentioned this year is Scythe by Neal Shusterman. This is a world where death has been eradicated, and you cannot die unless one of these people named called the Scythe come and reap you. If you die in an accident or something, they can bring you back. There's like rejuvenation or whatever centers where you can go, and yeah, so it's a really interesting world. So I do love the dystopian world. Also, I love there's a lot of political stuff within the Scythedom. And then the second book, Thunderhead, I also read, which is really good. It's kind of like The Cloud actually turned into AI and runs things now. And this book and Thunderhead, really good. Highly recommend that. The next one, Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This takes place in the whatever that world is. She has another trilogy that I have up there somewhere on my shelf. I'll put it on the screen, and it's not the same people, but it's the same world, like I think later. And I haven't read the trilogy that's like before this yet, but I did buy it because I loved this book so much. It is it's just so good. It's a queen sends like her kind of like her Navy SEALs. Most of them are women. Excuse me. and it's really good, to this other like kingdom, and well, it's not really a kingdom. Their area is kind of run like the mob, and there's like this family that runs it, and there is a love story, but it's so good. I love it. And then I've said this every time I've mentioned this book, the way that it ends, like the last little prologue part, it just sets it up. Stop licking, puppy. I hate that. Sets it up for the next book, and that is going to be so good. I cannot wait for that. So I highly recommend getting on that bandwagon, because I believe the second book comes out this year. Cannot wait. Let's see, on my list here, which is sitting over here, if you wonder why I keep looking over here. All Systems Read. Yes. It's the Murder Bot Diaries. I have read all 4 of the books in this series that are out. I think a 5th one comes out this year, and it is the like I said, the Murder Bot Diaries. And All Systems Read is the first one where you kind of meet him, and he's already kind of rogue. Well, they call him rogue because he doesn't have a governor that makes him, like, he obeys so they won't know he's knocked his governor out, and he likes to watch TV. And so he's got like all these TV shows and stuff downloaded that he loves, but he actually has emotions and things like that because they're very high-tech kind of robots, for lack of a better term, but they're androids. They look like humans and all of this stuff. The second book is my favorite of the series so far, and that one's called something. Is it Human Condition? I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. I want all of these books. I do not own them just yet, but especially that second one I really want because I love it. But you will fall in love with, he calls himself Murderbot because he says that's basically what he was made to be. But he doesn't want to murder people. He just wants to live his life. And some things have happened in like the past that he kind of wants to figure out what happened there. And that's another reason why he calls himself Murderbot. But it's really, really good. I really love it. And you'll love his interaction with characters. And he's like so human, even though he's not. Because he not only sees things, has emotions, but he sees things logically. And it's really, really good. I love that one. Let's see. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This was so good. This was one that took me a hot minute to really get it going. And I've heard so many people quit and give up on this or say that it took them a while. But literally it takes you, it doesn't take you very, very long. But if you just push through, because what it is, it's setting up the world they're in right now. Like how their lives are and how they interact and who is who. But when you get into the story, it does not stop. It is action-packed, and the world they're in and the worlds, like the different parts of the world they go to, they're so different. There is some magical people in here, and this system of magic is really cool. I enjoyed this so much, and I do have the second one, which I've got to read hopefully this month or next month. This is set in the Grishaverse. So the Grisha trilogy should be on my shelf today. I have been meaning to get it, and I ordered it, and it should be arriving today. I want to read that whole thing because I love the world system and the magic system and the people that are like kind of magical here. So it kind of takes place like after that, and I just want to see how it all begins. And so this is the first one in the Six of Crows duology. I have Crooked Kingdom back there. I want to read the other 3. And there's another one coming out where she's starting a new series within that world this year, probably this month. And so I want to get all caught up. And also I found out that Netflix is doing a series, like a mini series in this universe. So I must read them all before I even think about watching that, if I even watch it, because books are always better. Could not go into this series, this 10 books of favorites, without mentioning Kindred. Again, I know I've mentioned this so many times, but I need to mention it again. This book came out in 1979. It is a beloved book, but people obviously don't mention it that much anymore because they're talking about all the new stuff. This is awesome. This has got historical fiction and sci-fi feels, and I would say contemporary, but the contemporary portion is in the 70s. This is one where our main character lives in the 70s. She is African American. She's married to a white man. And then she gets called to the antebellum South, which is the South. Did I say South? The South, before the Civil War. So when slavery is still legal and all of this stuff. And turns out, I'm not giving anything away because it's pretty quickly figure this out, it is a little white boy that is calling her back. Turns out that's like one of her ancestors. So yeah, that's what's going on there. And whenever he feels threatened or like he's going to die or something, then he calls her somehow to him and she goes through time. And then she'll go back home. But sometimes she comes in, sometimes she comes back moments later, days later, months later, who knows. So it's just, this book will give you all the feels, and it is so well written. It's just so well written. You would think that Octavia Butler was there during this time, experiencing and seeing all this, the way that she describes the treatment of the slaves and things like that. And there's just so much, this relationships and good people and bad people, and just it's just so well done, just so well rounded. I love that in a book when it's just well rounded. So I highly, highly recommend this one. What else we got? Oh yes, Old Man's War. I love some sci-fi, and this one does not disappoint. This is a hilarious sci-fi. So basically, the premise of this is humanity has colonized part of space, and they have made alliances with alien races out there, but there are some races that are at war with the colonies of the humans and also other, like of the allies, alien races that are allies here. So people on the Earth do not know much about what goes on in the colonies, and it's designed that way, but they do know that when they become old, so if they turn 75 years old, or certain little ages, they can actually join the colonial army and be taken by spaceship up to the colonies. And they are told that they'll be young again. They assume they'll be young again, given like new bodies, like, some sort of work going on there. And so this is the story of the main character, and then also he meets some friends. And you actually start to really like all of the characters as you meet them. And it's kind of their journey to becoming colonists, or becoming part of the colonial army, how they get their new bodies, I love it when they get like a computer system where they can kind of like talk to themselves without speaking, like it's like a computer in their brain. And I love that part. But you get to go through some of the battles with John Perry, who is our main character. And you can just see what this man is writing. Like, you can see it in your mind, and it's so humorous. Like, you will laugh out loud with this. Also get the feels, but I really, really cannot recommend this enough. I think we're almost done. Oh, okay, so we have How to Walk Away by Katherine Center. This is different from anything else on this list because this one is a contemporary, and this is pretty much chick lit. I think a male could read it, but this is going to be primarily like, women are going to be enjoying it more, I think. This is about a girl who has, she's engaged to like the perfect man. She has the perfect life, and she gets in an accident that was his fault and becomes paralyzed. And it's about her journey back, but also creating a new life and realizing that maybe the life she had before wasn't quite so perfect. And it's just good. It is nothing like I expected. I expected it to be, I expected something completely different, but it was just beyond what I expected at all. It was just, it's so good. So good. So check that one out. I'm going to do a kind of an honorary mention along with that. It's another book that is contemporary, and that is had to turn around and get it off my shelf. The Almost Sisters by Joshilyn Jackson. Excellent, excellent, excellent. A lot of family kind of drama, but it centers around this one main character and her relationship with her grandmother, which is awesome. But her grandmother's sick, she's taking care of him. There's like an old mystery that gets dug up kinda, and the sister, like her sister and her husband are like a piece of work. Like, her life is like, she's a graphic artist or graphic novelist, and I just enjoyed this book so much that I read this one and How to Walk Away like back to back. And if you really, and I feel like anybody could read this. This isn't just chick lit. This cover is terrible for this book. It gives you just false information. But I loved this one, and I would just put How to Walk Away and Almost Sisters in the same little slot there, because kind of similar type of like genre, but totally different books. So I really like them. Okay, so that's technically 10 books, but I'm gonna say it's 9 because I'm gonna mention number 10. I can't believe that I had never read this before. When I read it, it quickly became one of my favorite books, and I feel like it's gonna be one of my favorite, like, what's the comfort books? You know, sometimes when you're having a rough day or you don't feel good, you have comfort movies, comfort TV shows. I feel like this is gonna be a comfort book. And you can break it up into chapters and read a chapter as a story on its own. And a great Gables, you guys, by L.M. Montgomery. Hook, line, and sinker. Fell in love with this. We'll probably continue the series at some point when I get in the mood, but even just the one itself, I feel like I could read it over and over again. And I love Anne. If you don't know what this is about, there is a little orphan girl named Anne, and she's been in an orphanage. Obviously, she's an orphan back in the day. And the people who adopt her are brother and sister who take her in. They wanted a boy to help with farm work because it's like in that time period. But they got a girl instead, and we're like, whoopsie. But they were going to take her back, but then she was like, please don't let me stay here. And the brother, who, like, the elder adult brother, who's like one of the adopters, was like, let's keep her, you know, she's pretty cool. And the thing is, like, he doesn't talk very much at all, but he speaks, there they go again, but he speaks to her, he talks to her a lot, and she has such a way of, like, seeing the world, and I love her. So, yeah, totally love it. So, if you haven't read that, and even if you're an adult, check it out. If you have kids, or a little girl especially, and she's starting to read books, like chapter books and stuff, go ahead and grab that one for her. Seriously, can you guys give me a minute? Anyway, so that is all for my top 10 books of 2018. Let me know what you read in the comments below. I would love to check out any of your favorite books. And I read a lot of very, very, very good books this year, and like a lot. I read 115 books, I think. Maybe it was 112. I got 112 done in 2018. So these are like the ones that stand out to me of those of like different genres. So it was hard to just like pick 10 and be like, here you go. But these I know I've talked about some of these like over and over again. So yeah, anyway, these are the ones that I highly recommend. If you don't read any of the others, then well, you should, because they're all good. Thank you guys so much for watching. So the little update I wanted to give you guys is I've been staying with my father in my hometown for the weeks, and the weekends I am here. So the weekdays I'm there, weekends I'm here. And I've just been trying to get a lot of stuff crammed into my weekends. So sadly, I haven't filmed as much as I had planned to. Then I had some health issues myself, and I'm actually having surgery Friday to hopefully correct some of that. So I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done. Like this is Wednesday, I would normally be there, so, but I'm here because I gotta do like pre-op all day tomorrow, and then Friday I'll have surgery. I'll be in the hospital. So I'm hoping to film more while I'm here and recovering, but if I don't get anything up, it's not because I didn't want to. It wasn't because I was being lazy. So just wanted to let you guys know that. If you have any questions for me about anything or any of these books or any of the other books, if you have like a specific genre or something and you're like, what is a good book in this genre or that features this type of thing, then I can tell you. I also will link down below every single book that I have read in 2018. That is all. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon. I'm also going to put some really bad books down below. Instead of doing like a top 10 bad, worst video, or worst books I've read, I'm just gonna list them down below. So anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm watching the time on my camera. Have a great day, gorgeous.